got back, no, I an hour and a half ago. I just got yeah, I sure was. Nice meeting you. I'm sorry, as I say, I just got back. Good, how are you? Everybody. Hi, stranger. Can you get out here? Mayor? Just barely got it there. This young lady doesn't run against. Yeah, Timmy. Right up here. Thank you. Thank you. More quick. Sure. It's okay. We sit down. Get in first. So you don't have to swing it. Let's play with the come on, take one of them other kids. Whoops. Did anybody
Before the business commences with evening, I'd like to thank the Alps for their wonderful dinner, which I couldn't make, unfortunately. I didn't get back in time. But I would also like to express the appreciation of the city and the aldermen. I hope they aren't too stuffed to be able to operate, but we are. I hope you'll bear with us. We have the roll call first, please.
Mayor.
Here.
First ward.
Here.
Second ward.
Here.
Third ward.
Here.
Fourth ward. Fifth ward.
Here.
Sixth ward.
Here.
President Gray.
Thank you. There it is. Okay.
First item, please.
Okay, we received bids on the hot paint machine for the traffic department. I have two bids, the first one being from Linear Dynamics, Parsippany, New Jersey.
While they look at the bids, I want to belatedly welcome the young ladies who are acting on behalf of myself and the alderman. They will be serving as the mayor and common council tonight.
Ready, Lord, best Joe?
I don't know, we only got one more bid.
Let's see what that one is first.
Before we read off their bid, we're going to open up the second bid, which is Roberts Equipment, Casanova, New York.
These guys are really good. You're right. Take his iPad to festival.
The bid for linear dynamics for the hot paint machine is $30,964. $30,964.
Who was linear what?
Linear dynamics. $30,964. The bid for Roberts Equipment, $49,949. These will be referred to Steve Lund and the traffic lieutenant for their recommendation of award at the next meeting of May 19th.
Hold a second.
Next item, please.
Oh, sorry.
Motion, please.
We have a motion on the bid.
I'll offer it.
And second, and fourth ward.
First word? Yes. Second word? Yes. Fourth word? Yes. Third word? Yes. Fifth word? Yes. Sixth word? Yes.
Motion carried, Your Honor.
Next item, please.
Whereas a meeting of the council held on April 21st, the city clerk was authorized and directed to advertise for a public hearing to be held at this meeting of May 5th in the common council chambers relative to a proposed amendment to the lease agreement between the Fulton YMCA and the city of Fulton. The hearing is now declared open.
This is the proposition involving the leasing of city lands near Bullhead Point to the Y for construction of a new Y. The stipulation is that the city has to set aside 24 acres for outside recreation in Great Bear Farm. The purpose of this public hearing is for any comments on that deal. Anybody? Yes.
Yeah, what we don't understand is you're going to set aside 24 acres for YMCA and stuff like that, but not for Fulton Softball Association. And also what we would like to know...
Wait a minute. We're not setting aside 24 acres for the Y. This is 24 acres, the stipulation by the DEC that we set aside 24 acres as compensation for leasing the Y 7 acres of land for their building.
Okay, that's fine, but what we don't understand is you're talking about charging us $5 to $10 a head to play ball next year.
Wait, what's that got to do with this proposition? You know, your motion is coming up later. We're talking about the YMCA putting a building up on 7 acres of land.
Right.
And we're going to have to set aside 24 acres of land as compensation, because this is land that was originally designated as parkland. So we have to set aside something according to the requirement of DEC. That's why we're doing this.
Find out how much you're leasing the land.
How about $1?
Okay, now we justify $1 for them for YMCA, but yet you still want to make us pay $5 to $10 a head to play softball in Fulton.
First place,
All right. Okay, but it will come back up.
fine. Any more comment about the YMCA deal?
Was that serious? $1 for the Y? Was that a serious
Sure.
proposal?
Sure.
Should they be allowed to rent that for $1? Doesn't that seem to be kind of a waste of a way for the city to take in some money? I know that the Y probably has its problems of being able to build that place, and I know that they have their money problems, but it seems to me that if you're going to lease out some property to an organization to build something on your property, and they're going to intake money, we all know that the Y charges so much to come in, it seems to me that that's a great waste of potential for the city to make some money.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think the Y is an important community service?
Well, absolutely, it's an important community service, as are a lot of other things, but I'm not going to say that. I'm not bringing that up in particular. But there's a lot of things that are important to our community. But if you're going to say it's an important community service, as are a lot of other things, you still, if you're using the city's property, it seems to me you've got to justify a $1 proposal to lease it to the, I mean, $1, that's, yeah, I will.
You know, I'm a little, frankly, I'm a little tired of being put on the spot by these things that somebody else wants to do. Wait a minute. Let's have a little order, please. If you want to speak, that's good. Okay, speak.
The Y does it for it, but Fulton Health it charges you $300 a month. Go to Y and maybe charge you $50 a month. You know?
Well, I see exactly where this gentleman's coming from, and I'm not saying that it's absolutely a bad idea. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is you've got 7 acres of land there. You've got 7 acres of land there at Bullhead Point. We all know where Bullhead Point is. And
well, let me point something out there for maybe you misunderstood. Because I was originally too. It's near Bullhead Point. It is not on Bullhead Point. It is in front of the what's the apartment complex? Okay, it's in front of the apartment complex. As a matter of fact, originally they wanted to go to the lake. I said, I don't think we ought to do that. And now it's about, what, 200 feet from the lake there? So that it's not encroaching on any lakefront. It's only frontage on Route 3.
we're saying, are they going to, as is, when they're taking in money from these people and they're getting, I think right now it's $38 if you want certain kind of memberships there per month.
Yeah.
When they're taking that in, are they paying taxes to the city to do that? I mean, are they already paying back into the community?
No, they're a not-for-profit corporation. But let me say this too. They do not make enough on fees. If it wasn't for contributions that are made to the Y could not function. I think the Y is a very important community service. And, you know, without it, there's something lacking here. So I think you're getting paid back a lot more than what you're giving by not charging a lease amount. Yes.
Did you say this is on parkland?
Pardon me?
It's parkland. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
From the DEC, this is parkland.
Yeah, this is land that was given by the federal government. That's why we have to make that arrangement. Chuck?
George, I know where a lot of people are coming from, and a lot of people here know where they're coming from. I'm here to represent the Fulton Softball Association. As you can see, there's a lot of people here. I'm going to ask my ball players, let them get on with their business. I know what you're saying is unfair. We've been saying this all along. Let them get on with their business, then let us bring up our business.
The FSA is on the agenda. Yes.
24 acres at Great Bear.
Pardon?
24 acres at Great Bear Farm, does that mean the gates will come down there, that'll be open to the public, or is it going to be closed off?
No, 24 acres is only a small part of Great Bear. It's in the corner of the Great Bear Farm, and it doesn't have any bearing on
It's a
access.
shame that the public can't get in there.
Well, I'm sure you're familiar, as everybody is, with what's happening there. The city would love to develop it, but every time they do something, it's torn down, mutilated, destroyed, and worse. So it's a real problem. We just don't have the personnel or neither does the county to police it. Yeah, I agree with you. It's a shame. Yes.
Question. The YMCA is really a great organization. I understand that. But you do have to pay to use it, and I see it as being an asset to the city. But to the children who can't afford to use the facilities of the Y, they will not be welcomed in the city allowed whatever. If you can't be a member, you can't participate type deal. And they do not give special rates to families who can't afford. If you can't afford to pay, you don't belong. And the city's going to help put in this very worthwhile organization when you have many children in the city who cannot afford to belong to the Y, or their families can't, and they don't have any other thing to do in the city. I understand the recreation thing is going to be gone from the children, is it not, this summer? And the Y won't open their doors to these children. So if the Y won't open their doors to these children who can't color in the parks now or use the pool, why should the taxpayers of the city donate to the Y when the poor children can't? I don't mean poor, you know what I'm saying? Children who are less fortunate. others who are less fortunate, not just children, because they do charge. Nobody gets there free. Nobody. A park that's designated by the DEC, I think it should be donated to something where everybody can use it, not just people who can afford to use it.
Dick?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm president of the YMCA this year, and to the best of my knowledge, there are many, many scholarships given, and I don't believe that, I've asked that same question this lady has asked many times, are people allowed to use the Y that can't afford it? And the answer I get is yes. I'll explore that further to make sure that's true, but my understanding is that people are not barred from using the Y because of lack of money.
Please do, because I do know families that have not been able to use it because they can't afford to use it.
Ma'am, if you will come see me at my office, then I will take this question up with the line.
Thank you.
Okay? Anyone else? Yes.
What 24-acre section of the Great Bear Farm are you going to designate as parks and recreation out there?
As far as I know, it would be it would be the northwest corner, northeast corner.
Northeast corner?
Right on the road, right on 57.
Okay. Does that include the square section you have gridded out on the old Dick's Farm?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
You have a section in your grid out there that you have sectioned out there so there's no taxes being paid on. In other words, nobody's laying claim to that land out there in that one section. It's supposedly part of the Great Bear Farm. Now you're saying you're going to use that 24 section above the gravel bed?
I wouldn't know what that is. All I know is what I saw on the map.
But it's where it's fairly sectioned out from that I'm inquiring on myself.
I'm not familiar with
Is the land be able to be used for park and recreation, or are you going to designate it as a bird sanctuary or something? Or?
No, it has to be used for outdoor recreation. It can't be set aside as a sanctuary.
So anybody in the city can go up there and use that section of land in that 24 acres?
Oh, no, it isn't. You can't just go up there and use it anytime you want to. It has to be developed by the city.
Now it would be closed, so it would be developed by the city.
Well, closed in the sense that, for example, you could go up there and organize a softball game.
Not very good. Section you're designating is bordering my land, the Price Farm. That's the section you're designating. That's why we care.
On the west side of 57?
Yeah.
Then you would be definitely interested. All I can say is right now, the city has no plans to develop it any more than they have any plans to develop the parcel the Y is being built on. You know, we simply don't have the money. If somebody wants to give us the money, we'll be glad to develop it. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but, yeah. Dick, what? Have you got a map of that area? Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Council, anybody in council have any comments? Okay, the public hearing is declared closed.
Be resolved that this issue be tabled until a new survey is submitted to the city attorney for his approval to be returned to this council at a future common council meeting for their action.
I'll offer it. Yeah. First word?
Doctor, I have a question. Is it the survey you were speaking in there, do you anticipate this quickly? Is a question
They
that
should have been ready now. So
It's not here yet?
No.
I think we'll have it within a couple weeks. I don't think that's unreasonable.
By the next regular meeting of the town council?
I don't know.
By the next regular meeting of the town council?
I don't know. Depends on the surveyor and a number of other factors that it'd be impossible to guess.
Roll call.
Second word?
Yes.
Carried. Third word?
Yes.
Fourth word? Yes. Fifth word? Yes. Sixth word? Yes.
Motion's carried, Your Honor.
Next item, please.
Whereas at a meeting the council held on April 21st, city clerk was authorized and directed to advertise for a public hearing to be held at this meeting on May 5th relative to a proposed amendment to section 80-6.1 of the zoning ordinance of the city of Fulton entitled Special Use Permits, which would remove the restriction against special use permits in an R2 residential district. The hearing is declared open.
I'd like to make a comment. Ross?
Okay, in reference to the,
Maybe we ought to have John explain what.
okay, explain first.
John, would you explain?
Basically, what a special use permit is it grants in a particular area special use in a property that, a business or something that could come into a specific area would be at, and it's there for the duration of that business. And then at the end of that business or the sale of that property, it reverts back to its original zone, okay? Depending upon what is asked in a special use permit. Well, if somebody wanted to put in a bakery in their home, okay, and the neighbors didn't have any objections, okay, they would come before us in an R2 zone and ask that they be granted a special use permit, okay, and as long as the neighbors didn't have any problems with it and everything was up to the codes and everything else like that, they would ask for approval. And then at that time, we would, as a common council, vote on it. That's an example of a special use permit.
Wouldn't it be referred to the planning commission?
Well, yeah, that too, because then it comes back after a recommendation is made, and then it comes back to us and we vote on it. But there are several different things that have to happen before it comes back to us and the initial vote, the final vote is made.
Mr. Belfiore has a comment. In reference to the proposed amendment, special use permits, specifically in an R2 district, I request that we consider the ramifications of such a motion. Unfortunately, the property in question, Mr. Zeller, has already been modified to accommodate inhabitants. At the request of Mr. Lincoln, I visited this property several months ago to view its appropriateness in relationship to other structures. I found upon examination of the premises that the property in question was professionally assembled and appeared to blend well with the neighborhood. As a matter of concern, I asked Mr. Lincoln if all prerequisites for such an addition had been secured or approved. He assured me and Mr. Zeller that there would be no resistance or objection to the structure. On the surface, Mr. Lincoln was correct. In all actuality, he was wrong. The objection is not from any one individual, but stems from the interpretation of our city charter and code. While researching this issue, I found that our code was amended in 1991, where it clearly states that no special use permit will be issued or considered in an R2 residential district. Upon further investigation, I found that Mr. Lincoln, whose ward this change will affect, and who has asked us to approve this change, introduced this amendment that places such restrictions in an R2 district. Moreover, I understand that the zoning board had originally recommended special use permits in an R2 area, but Mr. Lincoln, another councilman, rewrote the recommendations to their satisfaction. It is unfortunate that Mr. Zeller was misled. Therefore, in this special situation, I would not deny him the special use permit. In summary, I would stress that we do not overextend our authority to accommodate a select few. It annoys me that our city charter and code has become an instrument of convenience and not of principle. In the future, I would strongly suggest that we consult all available resources before making any assumptions, namely our city charter and code, city attorneys, and in this particular situation, our zoning inspector.
Any other comments? Any comments from the council? Public hearing is closed.
Be resolved that the proposed amendment to section 80-6.1 of the zoning district of the city of Fulton entitled Special Use Permits is hereby approved.
I'll offer it. Second it.
Roll call, please.
First word? Yes. Second word? Yes. Third word?
Yes.
Fourth word? Yes. Fifth word? Yes. Sixth word? Yes.
I would like to thank all the other council members who donated for this so far.
Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Resolved, the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to advertise to receive sealed bids in his office in the municipal building, Fulton, New York, on or before May 19th, 1992, up to 4 p.m. for tree and stump removal throughout the city of Fulton in accordance with specifications prepared by Ron Edick, the Engineering Department, DPW Commissioner.
Motion? All in favor indicate by aye. Aye. Opposed by no? Motion carries. Next item, please.
This is a proposal for fee rates for the city marina. We'll refer to Alderman Myers.
The rates we're going to propose are comparable to what they have in Oswego. I think you have the amounts we discussed.
Yes, the amounts that were discussed was for a season usage which runs from about the middle of May till the locks close sometime in November, I believe. Is $25 a foot for city residents at present City of Fulton, $30 a foot for non-residents, and for daily use it would be $50 a foot for residents and $50 cents a foot. I don't want to own the boat. 50 cents a foot, I'm sorry, for residents and 75 cents for non-residents. With
That was with it. No, not, resident non-resident come into play with that.
Oh.
50 cents,
another correction.
75 cents for electricity and water, 55 cents out.
Okay.
Plus per day.
75 cents electricity and water furnished and 50 cents per foot for slips without electricity and water. And payment is
Chris agreed to take payment. Chris agreed to take
And those will be posted where payments are to be made and the rates. Effective May 18th, 1992.
You're crazy if they don't. We don't, all votes up from the bottom.
Motion, please. Second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Resolved that the common council approves the following bills. Jones Chemicals, $1,100 for chlorine. Martisco Corporation, $1,080.96 for one fire hydrant extension. They're both budgeted items, but over $1,000 charter limit requires council approval.
Motion. I second it. All in favor? Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Okay, item number 7 has been tabled for a future common council meeting.
Next item.
Resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized to sign a proposal between the City of Fulton and John R. Wilkins Construction Company, Camillus, New York, in the amount of $2,200 for additional roofing and rafter work at the Recreation Department Storage Building. All of said cost has been pre-approved and will be paid by the city's insurance company.
Motion.
I'd like to make a comment first, if I could. Sure. That the additional fees that they're looking for on there is due to the fact that they didn't have sufficient nailing timbers to reconstruct portions of the building that was burned. And that's why they're looking for additional monies to take care of the additional work that they did. Thank you, Dave. Any other comment?
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Resolved, the mayor is hereby authorized to sign an agreement between the City of Fulton and Cooper Decorations, Syracuse, New York. Said agreement would allow Cooper Decorations to purchase 49 old Christmas decorations at a price of $1,000 to be paid by deducting $500 from their 1992 and 1993 Christmas contracts with Cooper Decorations.
Any comments?
Anybody know anything about this?
Yeah, I do. What happened is last year, the city chose to go with new Christmas decorations, which were put up, and we signed a 3-year contract with Cooper Decorations, and we saved $3,000 per year in the city budget for that. The old decorations that were taken down, Cooper took and stored them at no cost to the city of Fulton, and we could not get rid of them. In fact, we couldn't get anybody to buy them because they were so old and dilapidated. So Cooper has made an offer to buy them, and I suggested that we take their offer because we couldn't even get rid of them. If we had to store them there, we pay as much in storage charges as we would to try to get rid of them. I think it's a pretty good deal. Alderman Myers was with me and went.
Any other comment?
Motion, please. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item, please. Resolved that the report of the receipts and disbursements for the city clerk's office for the month of March 1992 in the amount of $5,603.52 be received, approved, and placed on file. Motion, please.
Second?
You got a second?
All in favor? Aye. All opposed by no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
I'd like to, this is, Your Honor, I'd like to refer this to the city attorney and see if this is something that we could do by amending the code by simply adding a section, or if we would have to have a public hearing.
Okay, refer to city attorney.
What this is at the last common council meeting that we had, we implemented some new building fees for building permits. The common council wanted to add a couple new fees, and what this would do would simply amend a new section in the city code by adding that fee. The question that needs to be answered, and I was talking to Spencer today about it, is whether or not we could just simply amend it by adding the fee, or if it would take a public hearing.
No public hearings.
Okay. Well, if that be the case, the resolution would read that Chapter 177 of the Fulton City Code entitled Signs be amended as follows. Add 177-25A, paragraph D, the fee for erecting the sign shall be $25.
Motion? Move it. All in favor, say aye.
Give me a second.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
Resolved, the mayor is hereby authorized to sign the agreement between the city of Fulton and the county of Oswego for a computer mapping and implementation components for the municipal wellhead protection grant program at a cost of $15,000.
It's a grant, outright, state or federal?
State grant.
From the state. So it costs us $0, and this will fund the program to protect the openings of the wells and make whatever additions or construction is necessary.
Motion, please. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
Resolved that Chapter 177, subsection 177-33 of the Fulton City Code entitled Certificates of Zoning Compliance be amended as follows. Add 177-33E. The fee for certificates of compliance shall be $25.
Any comment? I think the present time fee is what, $5?
There's no...
There's no fee, which obviously doesn't even cover the cost of labor. Motion.
Motion, please. Move it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
Resolved that Chapter 78, subsection 7826A of the Fulton City Code entitled Building Permit Fees be amended as follows. We would delete the special note and add the new note, which would simply say construction fees to be applied to the extension of electrical, plumbing, heating, and ventilating installations. This also applies to existing structures. I think Steve Lund can comment on this.
Dave?
Well, right now, we're charging like $5, the minimum charge of $5. This would just bring us into a more realistic price range for building fees, starting at $40. Going on from there.
Right, Tom?
Who's here?
Motion, please. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
Whereas the Recreation Commissioner has received a quote from Atlas Fence in the amount of $1,180 to erect a 6-foot chain link fence around the east side pool, along with 3-strand barbed wire to prevent illegal entry to the pool. Whereas $1,000 was budgeted in the recreation account for the fencing, whereas this would create a deficit in the amount of $180. Now therefore be it resolved, the Recreation Commissioner be authorized to purchase the fence from Atlas Fence at a cost of $1,180, and that the City Chamberlain is authorized to transfer the additional $180 from the contingent account into the beach and pool account to cover the cost.
Question. If I could ask Barry, where's the fence going to go, Barry?
Here? Down here?
The fact that he's not here, I think you stated that that's 6 foot in there, Joe, for height?
Yeah, six-foot chain link fence with 3-strand barbed wire.
At the top.
Correct.
Okay, I was concerned with the 6 foot, and I didn't hear the barbed wire at the top. I hope that will deter some of it.
You want to table it, Dave?
I would like to talk to Barry more about the fence. It's in concern with the 6 foot height.
Want a motion to table?
Yes, I do.
Second?
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
Resolved that the police chief is hereby authorized to purchase from the New York State bid list dated October 30th. Item 5, a 1992 Chevrolet Caprice police car, total cost of $14,065 to be direct charged to the 8/31/20 police department account. This is a budgeted item.
Motion, please. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, by no.
Please, let's have order.
Motion carried. Next item, please.
Resolved that Chapter 165, subsection 165-58, the vehicle traffic ordinance of the City of Fulton entitled Prohibited Parking at all times be amended as follows. Rescind 165-58, which reads parking prohibited at all times on South First Street on the west side from 99 feet south of Rochester Street north to the pedestrian mall. Add following 2 new subsections. Parking prohibited on the west side of South First from a point of 88 feet north of Rochester Street northerly for a distance of 87 feet. And add parking prohibited on the west side of South First Street from a point of 257 feet north of Rochester Street for a distance of 83 feet or to the pedestrian mall.
Hey, Joe. What's that all about?
Thanks, John. I didn't want to show my ignorance.
There was an
Is it between what streets on Rochester?
You had Howard. Howard.
What do you have covered in?
Yeah, please.
This is an ordinance change that was requested by former Alderman Hoffman. He asked me to do a feasibility study on limited parking across the street from Fulton Savings Bank. So what I did is I did an in-depth study of the width of the road. I've determined that it's wide enough to do that, to allow 3 more parking spaces across the street from Fulton Savings Bank on South First Street, on the west side of the street, and still have enough width in the roadway to allow traffic safely. I took it a step further, and I went further north from there, from that point, in front of Fulton Sub Shop, Salvation Army, and Streeterman Sanford. That too, that area, that roadway is large enough, wide enough to allow parking on the west side of the street. This has not been allowed for several years. I think it's a good idea. We can pick up another 4 spaces in front of those 3 businesses, so you pick up a total of 7 additional parking spaces. I'm suggesting that we only do it for a 30-minute period. This way it'll allow people to stop, go in, do their business, pick up their food or pay their insurance or go to the bank, and get out of there and allow someone else to use it. Probably.
I think the idea is good. I don't think that 30 minutes is enough, though.
Well, if we go to 4 hours or 2 hours, then you're going to use the quick... Well, that's up to you people, whatever you want.
I mean, I put it up to the council, for 1 hour, somebody isn't going to do extensive shopping because they won't have enough time, but pretty difficult sometimes to conduct business in an hour if you're there, especially in a rush hour. It might be enough to give them a safety margin, but not so much that they can, go all over town. What does the council think?
I think the reason behind that was because of the bank and the sub shop is kind of like quick service, and the insurance.
Yeah, they don't
company,
get
parking. And I don't think he was thinking of extended shopping because that area has already been designated for that Canal View parking area there. Am I right thinking that's what you were thinking?
Yes, I mean, if you want to pick up a sub, you got to park in a parking shop or somewhere else, and it's quite a walk. This is a convenience for the businesses.
I realize what you're getting at. I just
If someone
sometimes
wants
I
to
think
park
a
an
half an
hour,
hour.
they can park in the parking shop or one of the other designated areas.
Well, I suppose we can always amend it if we get some
Sure,
complaints on it.
sure. You got to start somewhere, but I think the downtown area needs it.
Oh,
Needs
yeah.
all the help we can give it.
Good idea.
And, it can be done safely, and we have all the materials to do it. The only thing we have to do is run a sandblaster to remove the present center line that we have. We have to move that over.
Now, we just open up First Street, really big.
True.
I have another question. Does anyone monitor the parking and how long people stay in a parking area in the designated area for shopping? Because I've received a lot of complaints within my ward that people cannot find a place to park because the employees are using that for parking and they have a lot designated. And the offenders are the employers themselves where they refuse to ask their employees to park somewhere else. And yet we're complaining that we're not bringing in enough money in sales tax, but we're not giving people a place to park to go shop.
So the problem
So
is,
at least, are the police monitoring
oh, yes,
how long?
we get hundreds of tickets out. What happens is the employees watch their watches, and before the 4 hours is up, they go and they move their car to another spot. Then they have an additional 4 hours. This is what...
Can you identify most of the employee cars?
The ones that are designated to park in the permit parking only, we have a file of their vehicles and plate numbers and so forth. But if they're not registering, then we have no idea what their vehicle is and where it's at.
Are you saying that they check the time and then either move the cars or put in more money?
Well, there's no money there. It's just 4-hour parking in the main lots.
And then they move it?
Yeah, they've been doing that a lot. Well, and I don't know how to solve that problem, other than having the merchants stay on their employees to cease that kind of activity.
Why can't we have numbered parking places where for the designated employee parking lot and assign numbers to the car? That's what they do in business. And then you know where the car's supposed to be, and if it's somewhere else, you give them a ticket.
Our designated lot is not that large, the one across from Fulton Savings Bank. Who
I
decides?
thought there was one beyond, that black one.
Yes, there is, and the people are refusing to use it. They don't want to have to walk a block.
If you give them a ticket, maybe they would use it.
Well, we
Just enforce the law.
Yeah, we are. We're giving out several tickets, and it doesn't seem to be working. It's got to be helping some, because people don't want to get the tickets, but they're still doing this practice and moving their vehicles before their time limit is up. Put up here. Anyway,
Okay.
that's plus our
Thank you.
We need a motion.
Motion, please.
Should we table this until you and I discuss it?
Well, I think this doesn't really affect the...
Okay, we're gonna go 30-minute mark?
Yeah, we'll consider to try it anyway, if that's okay.
Motion, please. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, by no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
This is the second part of how Lieutenant Allen drew up. Resolved that Chapter 165, subsection 165, 64 of the Vehicle and Traffic Ordinance, City of Fulton, entitled Time Limit Parking, be amended as follows. 1/2 hour parking allowed on the west side of South First Street from a point 20 feet north of Rochester Street northerly for a distance of 66 feet, and 1/2 hour parking allowed on the west side of South First Street from a point of 173 feet north of Rochester Street for a distance of 84 feet.
It's part of this.
Oh, I see.
Motion, please. Second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
Whereas the City of Fulton, New York received a federal grant in the amount of $149,986 for project of the wastewater collection facilities. Whereas the city received an overpayment of $8,964 from the EPA for the above project, which represents the federal share of disallowed cost to be recovered. Whereas said refund is due the Environmental Protection Agency within 30 days of their letter to the City of Fulton dated April 22nd. Now therefore be resolved, the mayor is hereby authorized to sign this document, and the city chamberlain is authorized to sign the appropriate voucher and issue payment to EPA for the bill in the amount of $8,964.
This is another case where the state mandates something. They claim it's an overpayment. We have no way of proving otherwise. And if the money isn't returned to them within the 30 days, they can inflict very heavy penalties on the city. And they don't hesitate to do that, as they threatened to do so in the past, so I'm afraid it's something we have to do.
Motion, please. Second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
Resolved, the mayor is hereby authorized to sign the project grant decrease for project of the wastewater treatment plant and close out the project.
This is only a formality. This project has already been completed, paid for, and this is the final resolution.
Motion, please. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next item, please. Resolved that this common council hereby accepts the request for contract extension from B. Beardsley Management and Enterprises Incorporated for the First Ward Water Sewer Expansion Project at no additional cost to the City of Fulton. I move it. All in favor? All opposed, by no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
Resolved, the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to advertise to receive sealed bids in his office in the municipal building, Fulton, New York, on June 2nd up to 4 p.m. for library roof repairs in accordance with specifications prepared by Omega Design, Syracuse, New York.
Motion, please. Move it. Second. All opposed, say aye. Withdrawn. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, please.
Resolved, the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to pay the total premium due for the police professional liability policy renewal at a cost of $23,388. This is a budgeted item.
Motion, please.
Joe, can you explain that a little bit?
Well, this is the annual premium, which is due for our police professional liability policy, which protects our police officers, police department for any liability in accordance with carrying out their duties as police officers. And this is just a renewal.
Any other comments? Yes.
Brian, how much liability does it carry?
$1 million.
Any other comments?
Motion, please. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
Resolved that Chapter 165, subsection 165-50, Vehicle and Traffic Ordinance, City of Fulton, entitled Prohibited Turns, be amended as follows. Add a new subsection which reads, no left turns while exiting the Kentucky Fried Chicken's new drive-thru onto Route 481.
Howie, you want to explain that?
They just installed a new drive-thru at Kentucky Fried Chicken where they had a solarium there and they removed that. They had a solarium on the south side of Kentucky Fried Chicken. They removed that and they installed a drive-thru. And we're asking that they're not allowed to turn left as they're exiting that drive-thru because it causes a hazardous condition.
You want to drive around?
You have to enter like just to the left of Dandy Donuts and you come around the back and then face 481 as you're going through the drive-thru because they have limited space there. We did,
Howie,
yes.
isn't this similar to Wendy's and
We did the same thing for
Columbia Bank, I believe?
Yes.
Is McDonald's isn't like that, though.
No, they have, it's a little different. But I think it'll be an asset to traffic safety, and it'll help control traffic flow there. Because it's quite congested with Dandy Donuts there, and with the new drive-thru, obviously it'll be busy because it's new. And again, we have the materials in stock. It won't cost us anything.
Any other comments?
I agree, Aaron. This is a very dangerous situation if they go both ways.
Anytime you make a left turn on 481 is a dangerous situation. I know, I do it every day. But
Motion, please. All in favor, say aye.
yes?
Isn't that the same? It's just one street. I think I'm confused here. Let's see, Kentucky Fried sits here and Dandy Donuts is here, and it's all on one street. You can turn left or right coming out of Dandy Donuts, but you now cannot turn left or right coming out of Kentucky Fried? Is that right? They're all in the same parking lot right there, aren't they?
Right.
You got people coming left out of Danny Donuts and coming left out of Kentucky Fried Chicken with the congestion that's there, and there's a curve there.
I know.
It's very
That's-
hazardous.
The city should do something with that curve. You're right. You're right. The curve is the whole problem, not the turning. I understand.
Well, now you've got two driveways actually very close to each other, turning left, and you know, that's a little tricky.
Yeah, they just put their money into obviously putting a drive-through there, KFC did. And I'm wondering if this is going to affect their business in some way. A lot of people aren't going to want to,
They want that.
they do want that.
Yes, we've talked about
Well, then hey, all for it then. I just seem to be that it would cut down their business. A lot of people would want to be able to take the left.
Let him speak, please.
What's going to prevent people from coming out of the KFC parking lot, going through Danny Donuts? I mean, you're creating, I think you're creating people to go through the Danny Donuts, through other parking.
Go by there, look at it. It's not possible. The way they have it set up, there's like pillars there where the sign is, and there's nowhere for them to go. But they just can't get out of the driveway.
Hey, no, you wouldn't be able to go from Kentucky's exit into down to the donuts, into down to the That's a new business in town, down in Clay. I think I'll open the franchise. You would be able to cross over to Downey Donuts. I should have stayed up north. Dandy Donuts? Most of you don't remember the era of, how was it anyway? Downey? No, there's one before that too. I told you you wouldn't remember.
I got a motion.
Second. We got the ayes, right? Any noes? Yes, we noes.
Any noes?
Motion's carried. We get the discussion? Yeah, we're in discussion. Now we're in the discussion.
First item.
The first item is New York State Conference of Mayors. If anybody's going to attend, they have to let me.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
They have to let me know, because I would have to send in reservations. So anybody in the council, mayor, city attorney,
No, I'm out.
I need to know what city officials are going to attend.
What were the dates?
June 7th through June 10th at the Neville Hotel in Ellenville, New York.
Let me just say that in case there's any public criticism because of city officials attending this conference, I can't attend because I'm going to be away somewhere else. If I wasn't, I would go. And I wouldn't mind asking the city to pay for it. I just went to a conference of mayors. This is an organization that devoted solely to research and assistance to public officials, and they do one hell of a job. And I attended one in Syracuse for a day last week, and I tell you, the input you get from them is worth a lot more than what you pay. Now, true, it's a resort down in the Catskills, I admit, and it's a very pleasant surroundings. But you get, that's where they hold it for 3 days, and you get one hell of a briefing on the problems of municipalities in this state. And that's solely what they deal with. They're only New York State. And in these days, when you need all the help you can get, believe me, it's a very worthwhile proposition, and I hope the council attends.
Your Honor, yes, for the public and council know, some of the things they'll be talking about is consolidation of services, examples of what has worked. We've been talking about that since the first of the year. They have planning and zoning for elected officials, cutting costs, not services. We've been talking about that. Incentive taxation, OSHA regulations and enforcement, Americans with Disabilities Act compliance, privatization of public services. Everything that we've been talking about since the first of the year. I think it would be a help, certainly to us, for at least one or a number of the aldermen to go down to this.
You're right, and I'm glad you brought those items to our attention, Jim. Two of those, all of those items are important, but there are two that you don't even hear much about. One of them is compliance with OSHA directives. Now that's very important. It has to deal with safety. It's a very complex subject. Now we have a new Disabilities Act. It's gone into effect, and that's going to have a tremendous impact on all municipalities. And we need all the input on both of those that we can get. The other items are things that we can use any input to help us cut down costs and improve efficiency in the city.
A number of these are concurrent sessions too, so if more than one alderman can go, it would be helpful because somebody may miss one because they're going to another.
I think everybody should. I hope you can. I'm sorry I can't go, but I have a commitment I can't break.
Or if not alderman, maybe clerk or attorney or...
Oh, yeah. Well, I certainly hope that Spencer can make it because I'm sure that there's a lot of things there he could help me with.
You also get to talk to the elected officials in other cities, talk about, our problems and how we're trying to solve them, and they can tell us.
Well, that's what happened at conference Saturday. Mayor Hamill was there from Oswego, and he and I had a long, pleasant talk, and as a result, we're going to have more meetings, and we're going to try to develop some programs that would be helpful to both cities. So it is a very valuable conference. You want any motion on it? Does anybody know at this time who plans to attend? Why don't we make a blanket motion to authorize it? They just make a blanket motion and
Anybody that's going to go, please get to me right away because I got to make the reservations within the next week.
You want to offer a resolution?
Yes. Resolved that the elected officials as designated are hereby authorized to attend the 1992 New York State Conference of Mayor meeting from June 7th through June 10th at the Neverly Hotel in Ellenville, New York. Be it further resolved, City Chamberlain transfer from the A1990 contingent account to the 1010 legislative account to cover the cost.
Motion, please. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next item, please.
This item is something that I'm sure many of the people here are interested in, especially the Fulton Softball Association. It has to do with the insurance registration for sports participants. One of the questions that's been raised is whether it applies to all sports. I think that John Crook has a list of those who are required to buy the insurance. John?
According to what was passed last year, the organizations which must provide proof of liability insurance to the city prior to the use of municipal facilities are Fulton Youth Soccer and Adult Soccer Leagues, Fulton Youth Hockey and all adult hockey leagues, Fulton Softball Association, Fulton Figure Skating Club, Pop Warner, Fulton Volleyball Association, Fulton Junior Baseball Association, and the Summer Lacrosse League.
I know that one of the questions that's been raised is why the sports participants need insurance when the city has insurance. The city has $1 million in insurance I do a lot of negligence work and I have for 40 years, probably half of my business. Let me tell you today, $1 million is not a lot of money in insurance coverage. You're reading the papers, and you read about some of the verdicts. There was one here in Oswego County. That was a case that my brother had before he died, and it was turned over to Andersky's office. The verdict in that case was $3,400,000. And this was not an injury like a paraplegic, or quadriplegic, or even anybody lost an arm or a leg. It was a serious injury, but not in that category. And I know there are a lot of other verdicts that exceed the sum of $1 million. It is for your protection as well as the city. Because whatever insurance that you carry is in addition to what the city carries. The city is also concerned about having enough coverage because we are well aware of the fact that $1 million is not a lot today. And the city can't afford to pay any verdict in excess of the insurance coverage. I think we all know that by now. So it isn't just a whim. It's a very serious problem. On the bright side, there is a bill presently before the legislature, something I've been advocating for some time with our Assemblywoman and State Senator, that will exempt sports from liability in municipalities. That bill is actually in committee at the present time. I just received a brochure on that last week explaining what's happening and what it's all about. Now there is in effect now exemption from liability for people whose lanes are open to sportsmen, hunters, fishermen, and so on. And it's the same principle that they're trying to apply in the legislature. So there may be some relief in the future, but meanwhile, believe me, it's a worthwhile expense. And Chuck, the Softball Association is not being discriminated against.
George, one other thing on this schedule, so that these groups don't think that we're just singling them out. It says, in addition, any group requesting use of a municipal facility for an event which will encourage public participation and be open to the public will be required to obtain the insurance. It is not possible to list all groups that will be affected. It will be necessary to determine whether the insurance will be required on an individual case basis. So as more groups come into the city, and we determine that it's necessary for them to have insurance also, it will be dealt with on a case-by-case basis.
Well, George, I don't like to argue with you, but you're just another man in the world, too. John, you give us organizations that have to have it. Give me ones that don't have to have it. Or do you want me to give them to you?
Go ahead.
Knee-high soccer, or knee-high basketball.
That,
And irregardless, that's what I keep hearing. It's funded by the city, but they don't have to have it?
right. Because it's run by the city, I'm told that they don't have to have it.
Why? We have to have it.
If the city sponsors it.
You want to sponsor us, guys?
So which card do you want?
Well, in all fairness, I don't think there should be any distinction, John. What's the point?
It's, it's one of the ones that came up in our discussions, and, I checked it out, and it's because it's a city-run program. I understand that they are looking at getting their own policy, though.
Knee-high, are these under 16? As a matter of fact, the liability there is much more severe than it is with adults.
It's really one we should look into. It's something that maybe started after this was enacted, I think.
And I believe there's more organizations also that are supposed to be under the city that don't have to pay insurance. And to me, that is discrimination. If they're an organization, regardless if they're under the city or if you're playing on city property, there should be no difference. They should have to pay if we should have to pay.
I think it's something we should look at.
While I'm up here on this insurance issue, I want the board members to know I have been talking with John, Tony Mile, I'll tell you, that man deserves a round of applause more than anybody probably in this room. Tony has been over backwards on this ASA insurance issue for us. It's probably a good insurance, but the issue isn't if it's a good insurance. The issue is if other organizations don't need the insurance, why do we need it? That's the issue. And it is, you are being partiality. If you're letting them play on city property and they don't have to have insurance, then we should be allowed to play on city property and we shouldn't have to have insurance. If we want to get insurance, all well and good, but we should not be forced by the Recreation Department or the Common Council to have the insurance.
I agree we should look at this. It's here to look at it on an individual case-by-case basis, and we should look at that because it's for their protection as well as the city's protection, and that's what we're looking out after, is to protect the city of Fulton. That's why we were all elected here.
Well, I'd like the Common Council to know this. Most of the ball players are for the ASA insurance. But that's not the issue. The issue is that we're sort of being forced into it when other organizations don't have to have it. The other thing right now with the ASA insurance, the problem is all this dickering we've been going through is you have teams that have went out and bought uniforms for players. ASA, you have to be 18 years old. You have people that have now spent money for uniforms and they're 16 and 17 years old. They can't send their uniforms back. They can't take their name off it and sell it to someone else. So we're in another situation where you got 16 years old, 17-year-olds this year that are not going to be able to play ball. Next year, it would probably have been a good idea if we could have done it next year. But we're not talking about next year. We're talking about this year. A lot of you Common Council that I have talked to, when I ask you about this insurance, you passed the butter cake back to last year or the year before. They done it, not us. But yous can stop it. Yous can read it. I've read it. I got it. Yous can turn it around and say we don't have to have it this year. We can sit down and get the issue for next year because there's a lot of stuff that's got to be worked out. And I do want you to know this. I've been told, I cannot prove it, but I've been told that Common Council would like to take the Fulton Softball Association over next year for the Recreation Department. Gentlemen, let me tell you why. You're welcome to it. I'll tell you why. You won't have a Team 1 playing here because I already have a proposal for fields to go to play from an organization in the city of Fulton. They aren't going to charge us the so-called user fee that you people want to charge. I don't know if you Common Council members have heard about it, but the Recreation Department has heard about it. The article was, I thought that was squashed, but there was an article put in the paper saying that you're going to try to hit us with it next year. So why the hell beat our heads against the wall this year and we got to do it again next year? I want it settled this year. If I'm president of the association, or if he's president of the association next year, I do not want him to have to go through what I have went through and what the board members and ball players are going through. We don't know when we're going to play ball, but we do, because we will be on the field. A few weeks ago, there was a tournament that was going to be held in the city of Fulton. Because of this lady got to run around, from what I understand, about different insurances. She went out and got different insurances, brought them over. They said they were the wrong insurance. She went and got other insurances. She was told the wrong insurance. They were going to play ball to be arrested. 32 teams, I think some of them are here. How many teams that were going to play in that tournament are here?
Chuck, wait a minute. Chuck, I mean, let's be fair.
I'm going to be fair.
She never got to me in the first
George,
place.
I'm going to be fair.
Wait a minute.
I just want
All right. Tell the whole story.
I'm going to know, the story is there's 32 teams. There's 32 teams that were willing. This is the point, George. There's 32 teams that was willing to go on that ball field and be arrested over this insurance issue. There's also 73 more teams that are willing to go on Dennis Shea and Foster Park and be arrested if we cannot come to some kind of agreement on the insurance. And it isn't because you're charging us. The issue is you're not charging everybody.
point, but the impression you've left about that lady is that the city misled her, and that's not true. In the first place, sit down
Oh, excuse me.
and let me speak when I'm through. You
Certainly.
can speak.
You wouldn't call on me, thank you.
Now, she never got in touch with me in the first place. She made the arrangements through Barry Ostrander, and he was both sides of the question as to what happened when I tried to find out. In any event, once I did get into the picture and I talked to her, and she did furnish the insurance, and I said that they could play as long as they had the insurance coverage. I had fax copies of the insurance policies. They covered everything in my hands at least Thursday before Saturday, and then I find out that she said that it was canceled because she couldn't get insurance, and that somebody said about somebody would be arrested if they went on the field, and I told you, yes, if they went out on the field without insurance, they would be arrested. That is correct. But she unilaterally canceled the tournament because she claimed that she couldn't get insurance when she had insurance. Now, the thing was wrong right from the start. She never contacted me in the first place to say they want to put on a tournament and request permission to use the field. That would have been the proper way to proceed.
But you can answer that in a minute. Maybe she didn't come and see you, George, and you know I don't want to argue with you. But if it comes to argue, you and me have argued before.
No, it wouldn't be the first time.
And I'm not going to hate you when I get done.
Twice the same.
And you're not going to hate me.
Yeah.
But I myself contacted Barry Ostrander about this tournament. If you should have been contacted, Barry Ostrander should have told us to contact you. So that part you can't blame on us because we didn't contact you. That part, again, goes back to what the hell ever this problem is with the Fulton Softball Association and the Recreation Department. If we were supposed to notify you, he should have said, go see Mr. Villette. And I'm quite sure we would have came and seen you. Now, the other issue is, from the understanding I have, and I think she wants to clarify it, is she was given the runaround. Now, she's not saying by you, she's saying by city officials. I don't think she means you, but let her clarify that.
All right, I will say this much before she speaks. Barry did follow up, okay? Gave me two different stories about what happened and what was authorized and what wasn't authorized. I don't know where he is.
Wait a minute, let George...
But in any event, there did come a time when I talked to Sandy, okay, and I thought the tournament was going ahead. Now go ahead.
Right from the beginning, Barry Ostrander did not tell me to see you. He told me to see Mr. Tetro. I spent time with Mr. Ostrander, and the man that was with me is sitting right over there, and we spoke, and that's exactly what he told me to do, was to see Mr. Tetro. He told me what kind of insurance I needed. He never mentioned you. He never mentioned the council. I spent a lot of time talking to him about making sure I did everything the right way. So I went and did what I had to do. I went down to see Mr. Tetro. He couldn't see me that day. I spoke with the assistant county clerk, I believe she was. She gave me a copy of what Mr. Crook has been reading out. I was told at that time I did not have 72 hours to produce insurance before the tournament. I had 5 days, and it states that in the Common Council's rule here, 5 working days, not 72 hours. I bought the insurance that I thought I needed, stated by the county clerk's office, and Barry Ostrander, whom I thought knew what he was doing. I am not an official. I am a woman who wanted to get her teams to have a tournament. I paid $891 for the insurance to be told, you did it wrong. No, wait a minute, this is what you told me to buy. So now I'm on a time limit here. I'm down to my 5 days, and I bought what I thought I needed, and I take it down there, and Mr. Tetro spoke with me in his office. I sat with him. He called some lady, I don't know if she was an attorney, insurance woman, and I had all the wrong things. When you talked about insurance in the city, I also had to carry the city of Fulton for $1 million on top of the ball players. I also had to insure the city, which is already insured. So now we have 3 lawsuits in case you get hurt, which I see makes no sense to me. And I said, but whatever you need, I'll try. It is so difficult if you have checked on this, and I did. It took me 2 weeks to get insurance on a ball player himself in this state. I worked my butt off to do this so they could have their tournament. I had to go to New Jersey ASA. That's who you got your fax from. In the meantime, I was called and said, you're too late. You needed this fight. No, it wasn't she did this and she did that. I was called, Mr. Valette. I was called. And I was told, don't do it. They will arrest you, which we were threatened with right from the get-go. If you play ball, you're going to be arrested. I am so sick of being told if you want to hit a softball, you're going to be arrested, that I could be sick. If you want to insure things, and my son plays junior baseball. My son plays junior baseball. As many, probably a lot of these people in here, their children play one of these sports or another. But I'm here to tell you, if he doesn't have that $1 million coverage, and I want to know, he's a participant. He can't play. And I will go to his coach, and I will ask him to ask all the children's mothers to contact the council members. Is my son covered by $1 million coverage? And I want every one of the children in the junior baseball league, at least them. I want to know if they're aware, are they covered, the junior baseball league? Do they have $1 million policy, please?
Sandy, wait a minute. Let's get back.
It's all pertaining to
Let's
the
get
same
back to your
thing.
tournament, first of all. Okay?
Oh, my tournament is the city's fault.
Let's clarify something there.
Okay.
It didn't come to my attention until Joe rightfully came to me, and he was confused, and that's when I first heard about it. But up until you canceled it, I thought the tournament was still on. I never called up and told you that you were anybody was going to be arrested, right?
No, you did not.
Okay.
You never. Matter of fact, you told me I'll do what I can to put this tournament on for you.
Okay.
He did do that.
There was a misunderstanding.
Yes.
Okay? Somebody apparently told you that, and that was a misunderstanding.
I'm so sorry Barry Ostrander isn't here.
Yeah, so
Because I was ready to say,
Well, let me make one point that I think you ought to know. That as a sponsor, you are personally liable if anybody's hurt. So that insurance covers you too, you say.
oh, I understand that.
Okay.
Oh, I understand that. But, you know, what I'm told is we can't do anything unless we pay $1 million liability. And I'm here to tell you it costs $1,000. I know. It costs $1,000 to do this. And this isn't with liquor or beer or anything. Who in this community can afford to put up $1,000 to play a sport in a city park that is already insured? I took all mine to do it.
You know where the real problem lies, where the real responsible person is? The people who bring these lawsuits. And I'm a man who did a lot of that work. And that's what's happened. No, there's not no way to go. I don't mean that. But that's what's happened to liability insurance. It's become almost impossible to buy. And I'm sure you know, as the owner of a saloon, that you can't buy dram shop insurance, right?
And I couldn't buy it on those players.
There you are.
I don't want to state, this state
You
won't do
can't
it.
afford it, right?
I paid the check.
No, I mean dram shop insurance.
Oh, who can?
No.
You had
You're
to
going to see the same thing happen to liability insurance. Tomorrow, or Monday, a trial starts in federal court against the city of Fulton by a man who is he's got a record as long as your arm. I don't know how many times you've heard from me when I was judged. He's suing the city for police brutality that has no basis whatever, because I know the case. But he's suing the city. They're going to have to go through an expensive trial, and of course, whose premiums do you think that's going to increase?
You're probably talking to the wrong person to talk about suing the city.
I understand that.
So I don't think we should talk about
Sandy,
police
that's the point.
brutality.
I'm talking about the proliferation of lawsuits is what's made insurance so expensive. And $1 million coverage is not much.
Understand. But we talk about making revenue for the city. Where are we going to get the money for this and where are we going to get the money for that? Well, let's make them pay $1,000 to bring the city in. I know it's not a lot, but when you have a ball tournament, you're generating 500, 600, 700 people. So they go to the stores and they buy gas and they hit the ice cream stands and the kids go here and there. Maybe it doesn't seem like a lot to you. You do 3 or 4 of these. Well, I understand Rivercrest wants one to make money, right? Well, my goodness, they must make money. And it's not
It does
personal.
mean a lot. It does mean a lot.
Well, obviously it doesn't if there's so many restrictions
mean a
put
lot.
down that we can't
And
afford to do
softball
it.
means a lot to me.
Not to the council. You said I'm not directing this to you. I'm looking everywhere. The council obviously doesn't care.
Someone, I'm not saying it's the common council or if it's the recreation department, but someone does not, for some reason, want Fulton Softball Association to exist anymore.
I think the original idea that for the user, a tax, because it's not a fee, it's a tax, was Mr. Thorpe, the chairman of the Recreation Commission.
George, can I say a couple things?
No,
Oh,
say
yeah,
it.
one more. Yeah, one more, yeah, let him speak.
Okay.
Yes.
Came here with their homework done today. I'm just curious, how much does the Softball Association cost the city as far as people coming to you with problems after getting injured?
And if it's done, then
Probably none. I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you.
We're trying to protect for the future.
Come on, give me a break. You have $1 million covered. Give me a break.
Your thing to you.
Tony?
2 years ago at Foster Park, an individual that played for Armstrong, crossed home plate, dropped down dead, okay? Who did his wife go after? The city? No. You know who she went after? The uniform, Armstrong. They had deeper pockets than the city did, and she won $750,000 out of Armstrong. Believe it or not.
Thank you for standing up and making that point. Well, there's another point. He did not try to sue the city.
Well, I'll tell you something, Chuck. The lawyer who sued that case ought to be disbarred for malpractice because he should have. You should always sue all the parties involved. You can laugh if you want to, but believe me, that's an article of faith among the legal profession. You sue everybody in sight, because if you don't, you might miss the most important one of all.
I'd just like to ask Charlie a question. Charlie, you sat down in meetings with Mr. Crook and myself, and you're new, John, I know that, and the commission. I know you haven't had the opportunity to meet with them in previous years because you're new at this. But from where we started at, which was one in left field and one in right, so to speak, do you feel we've made any progress, no matter if we're agreeable or not, that we made progress in trying to work with it? And do you feel that there will be further progress made?
I hope so. I can't say yes.
Typical lawyer-like answer.
Because I feel that there is, and then I read the paper, David, and some...
I asked about the council, I didn't ask about the
But that's
recreation.
what I'm saying, but see, you read the paper, and then you feel you didn't. But, Mr. Gillette, I would like you alone, because I do not want the organization involved in this to be brought out public as of yet. And I would like you to just take a quick to get a deal like this.
Pretty attractive offer.
I don't think so. If you want to force us out of the city of Fulton, he just read it. I can't show it to everybody. I would like to, but I'm not obligated to show it right now. But it's there.
Chuck, got a lady that wants to speak.
All right, could I just say something to the councilman who said that you would take each organization on an individual basis and look at them, okay? How do you know that someone within an organization, and how can you tell that no one in that organization is going to sue the city? You don't know. How can you, if that's going to be the case, how can you say, okay, this one has to carry $1 million policy and this one doesn't? If you're going to hit everybody with a liability policy, it has to be every organization that uses every city, field, whatever. You can't pick and choose because you don't know who's going to sue you. And you're going to have egg on your face if you say this association doesn't have to carry a policy and somebody falls and does permanent damage to their leg and sues the city.
I have an answer. The next meeting, I'm going to introduce a resolution that all sports participants must carry their own insurance.
That's all.
All.
Whether you're covered by it,
Yeah.
the issue isn't just insurance. It's that everybody doesn't have access to it.
That gentleman over there.
I'll get this insurance question here. By saying organization's got to carry it, say families up in the park for a picnic. A bunch of them that get together and play softball, one falls and gets hurt. They got to carry insurance too? The people that play on them parks, are they responsible for themselves?
No, I think you have to distinguish between organized play and just casual play. I mean, you obviously can't tell people like that hey.
We take the field on our own responsibility. I myself got hurt down there, never come after the city.
Well, this is a much misunderstood aspect. The participants themselves don't have any action because you assume the risk. Now, the case of the wife who sued, that's a different story. I don't know what the basis for the charge or claim for negligence was, but obviously there was some there. You're right, Ross. Doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Ross.
And the rest of us formed the softballs, and we had bylaws. And the bylaws stated we had a card. And it said Fulton Softball Association, the city of Fulton will be not liable for any injuries occurred on the field.
That's right.
And George, I'm not knocking you, Charlie House, but one individual has caused all this problems in the city of Fulton. He's not here tonight. If he was, I would tell him to his face. He has ruined softball because he got so greedy, he took everything for himself, and that's why these people are in the predicament they are now. And the bylaw stated that nobody under 18 would play softball in the softball association. Am I right or wrong, Your Honor?
That's right.
Thank you. I'm not wrong, Mr. House.
You are. You want me to go back to the...
No, wait, no, we're not gonna get that. John, you said you wanted to say something.
In answer to Sandy about the Fulton Junior Baseball, I don't know personally right now if they have insurance, but before they play, according to the city, they will have to have it. And they have to present that to Mr. Tetro.
Can I say one thing? I don't want you to think. You know something? I feel sad. I want you to know this. I feel really bad because I feel children are going to suffer. See, what you've done is you've had to make it a blanket thing. It has to be this way. There can be no pick and choose. And now, how will these little children raise the money for this $1 million coverage that Alderman Lincoln introduced the following, moved its adoption? How will children in each one of these categories be able to come up with this money? Us as parents in the Softball Association will have fund drives for the children to play all summer?
Well, let me ask you this.
I feel really
No,
bad.
not one of these organizations has come to us and protested this. As a matter of fact, Fulton Youth Soccer, who's going to be playing at Van Buren Park this year, kind of under the same rules that we want the Fulton Softball Association to play, just presented Mr. Tetro with a $1 million policy, which is costing each player $3.50. Under our proposal, it would cost each softball player $1.
How much is it going to cost next year?
But that's not the point. We pay enough money as it is.
It's $1 for each softball player.
I don't.
We covered by a $2 million policy. I still tell you that the extra coverage is to your benefit as much as anybody else's. Believe me. $1 million, not a hell of a lot of money. Just heard from Tony. Tony, how long ago was that case? 2 years ago. $750,000. Okay? And incidentally, wrongful death carries interest from the date of death. So that $750,000 is plus interest.
Sandy, each organization was sent a letter last November 3rd, including the Fulton Softball Association. I guess I asked why it takes this long, right up until a couple weeks before, to address the situation. But each organization was sent this letter, and we have no negative responses from anyone other than the Fulton Softball Association. And I played down there a number of years. I like playing softball.
Can I answer that question? What some of them have told me, some of them feel they don't want to rock the boat because they don't have to pay none of their maintenance. They feel that if they rock the boat on this insurance issue, they'll be in our boat maintaining the field like we do.
The Fulton Soccer Association is maintaining Van Buren Field and cleaning the bathhouses over there to make sure that they're clean for use of their participants and spectators.
Sitting on their mowing lawn all the time.
Well, they're going to be maintaining paying beer in the park, from what I'm told. The soccer association. And they're keeping the restrooms clean.
Okay, anybody got anything new to add? You know, we could go on like this all night long.
I do.
All right?
The kids who can't play that are under 16 years old, they work and they pay their taxes. 16, 17-year-old kids, why can't they play ball? Would you rather, it doesn't cost them anything to get in a bar room door. You know, they can just walk right in there. Why can't they go down there and play a game?
That isn't our rule, that's the rule of the ASA. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care. I played with softball when I started about 5 years old. No, I guess it wasn't invented then, I'm sorry. Over in the corner. Over in the corner?
Fulton softball or Fulton junior baseball does pay half their $1 million blanket coverage, and they also pay to maintain the upper field.
Thank you. Charlie, I guess if we exempt Fulton Softball Association from this, insurance, okay, what are all the other groups going to say who are doing this willingly and understand that it's for their own protection also?
John, we're not here to be asked to be exempt. We're here to ask that everybody pay it. That's what we're here to ask.
Okay, that's going to happen, I think.
You know, that's what I've told you from the beginning. I think the insurance, I think most of the players agree that the ASA insurance is very good. But what we're saying is if we have to have insurance, why shouldn't every organization, whether you're playing what you are saying under the city of Fulton, I know, but I'm trying to answer.
I think we would all agree to that. And I think the organizations who don't have it understand that they need it.
Let's have it settled. Hopefully, within 2 weeks, all organizations will be, by resolution of the council, have to provide insurance to participate in playing Fulton field, and that the FSA is going to buy insurance. Do we consider that settled? Okay. Now, anybody have any new questions?
John Crook and myself and Charlie and David Halsted and Joe Tietro have done a lot of work on this insurance deal. What the commission wants to do, and Barry's not here tonight, he's ill, so anyway, what we want to do at the end of the summer is get all the organizations, I talked to Friday, Chuck, about this. We want all the organizations to come in. We're going to sit down and talk to them, not only about insurance, we're going to talk to them about everything. What's happening right now, hockey is bitching at softball, softball's mad at soccer, soccer's mad at basketball. We want everybody to come into the room, and we're going to settle it once and for all at the end of the summer. Did I tell you that, Chuck, or didn't I?
Yeah, we're not mad at no one.
No.
I restate that. We are mad at someone. We're not mad at no sport organization. We're mad at whoever said only certain sport organizations have to have insurance.
Insurance. George agrees with us also.
I think that's a wonderful idea. And that's what we want to do again. We're delighted to do that. You don't have to, of course. Yeah.
The first sport will be corner football in September, so we're going to have it before September. Chuck, you bring 2 representatives. Everybody else will have a couple, and we'll lay everything on the table.
That's the way to do it.
Okay?
Let me just make one comment about that. It's my number 1 sport. I played locally, college, semi-pro. I had my brothers, and I had the genie with one wish. I asked for one more season of hockey. So any hockey player that raises any wage is crazy. When they we run a $50,000 deficit operating that ice skate rink. So if you know any hockey players, tell them they better prove it. Yes.
Well, I remember something that you just said a little while ago, sir. I thought it was kind of interesting, especially since this whole thing's about ready to end now. I remember you saying to this gentleman here that if they didn't go after the city, if that lady didn't go after the city, she was crazy. And I just think about this now, and I think, okay, now you're going to have all these associations, and they're going to get their insurance, right? And in any case, you're going to have insurance on the fields anyway. So in other words, if this lady Smart or whoever this next person is, if they go after somebody, they're going to have to go after both insurances, right? So the whole thing's kind of locked in.
What they do when action is brought against the city, or the $3 million total insurance coverage. That's how it works. You might also be interested to know that New York now has a law about frivolous actions. If you bring a frivolous action that has no merit, you can be severely penalized financially.
The other issue is, as John and Dave know, they were at the meeting, and I thought it was squashed again until I read the paper.
Chuck, let me say before you mention that, Ostrander has denied that interview with the OBN. He denied he ever gave it, denied he ever said it. Yeah.
Well, then I will still bring the issue up because it has been talked about. And that's the players, the users fee. We feel as long as we're maintaining these fields, why do we have to pay a user's fee? Now,
Chuck Gianna said that that is dead as of this year. And there is nothing going to be said in any agreement or deal concerning a user fee for next year. That doesn't mean it's dead. It does mean, as far as right now is concerned, it's dead. And I don't want to be a dead horse.
Well, I hope it's dead for this year, George, but what I'm trying to say, we're going to go through this whole thing again next year if they try to say you're going to pay a user.
You know how I feel about it.
Because Chuck, I think what you're looking at, and the state was maybe one of our meetings that we would look at it, but I want to add to that, and it's for certain, that if we're going to look at it for one, we're going to have insurance for all, we're going to look at that fee for everybody to generate revenue for the whole program. It won't be for one.
We should also look at the possibility of the city of Fulton maintaining our field for us, like we do everybody else. They maintain everything for everyone else. So what we're getting down to is what is fair for one is fair for us. So if we're going to look at the insurance issue, that's good. If we're going to look at the...
I can summarize this.
If we're going to look...
I think that what you do is put down dollars and cents what every organization contributes for maintenance, user fees, or whatever it is, and then the others can match it. That's everything.
Well, I prepared a resolution. I'll read it, but one thing I want to know. I'll give you credit. But one thing Chuck said tonight that I found out was I did work on this to try to help the association with Mr. Ryan. And, you know, I love to see everybody get South Bronx. I play, and I also am coaching the girls team this year. And the last thing, when he wasn't in this council, I'm sure the mayor would want to see nobody play softball. That's why I've been working with Mr. Mile, Mr. Crook, and the county council to try to help you. The one thing I did find out, Chuck, is that the ASA, I'm going to call to the guy in the ASA, basically what you guys are going to do is purchase a policy, and you have to become a member of the ASA. Okay? Once you become a member of the ASA, it's my understanding that if the waiver goes over for me, if they accept the waiver and move up, along with you buying field insurance and becoming a member of the ASA, it's my understanding that there's also a waiver for people who are 18 years old. And the ASA, the way the guy explained to me and the city attorneys talked to them today, it was explained to me, if you become a member of the ASA, it doesn't make any difference if you're 18 years old or you're 16 years old. You'd still be covered under the ASA policy. Now, if the council wants to accept those waivers, that's up to them.
The insurance company, because there's still been some here and saying,
I think I'll hear the resolution.
this resolution, when we prepared it based on the information from Mr. Crook, Mr. Amaya, and that was that they were not going to let anybody participate under the age of 18 years old. I have a prepared waiver of consent from Salem who sells the ASA insurance, where a minor with parental signature and signature of the Fulton Softball Association could play and would be covered under the policy. So that would change the resolution. Spencer, what do you think about that?
About what? Which part?
Under 18 play, with a waiver signed by the parents.
I haven't addressed that particular issue with ASA, only the other original waiver.
Well, let me read this resolution first, and see what the council wants to do. Whereas the county council passed a resolution on September 3rd, 1991, requiring all organizations using municipal facilities to submit to the city clerk's office a liability insurance policy in the amount of $1 million for general liability, or in the event that alcohol will be served, legal liquor liability, and an insurance policy providing $50,000 accidental health insurance coverage effective September 3rd, 1991. That was the resolution that was passed last year, not what the resolution is here. And whereas taking away the city's policy, listed organizations will be required to submit the proper insurance policy, and whereas the county council by resolution could either add or to or delete from such Schedule A organizations, and whereas the recreation committee of the county council has submitted a waiver to the city attorney for his review, and whereas the waiver prohibits any participant from suing the city of Fulton for any liabilities or injuries, and whereas the waiver will only apply to participants 18 years of age and older. Any waiver by anyone under 18 is not effective. It doesn't find what we call an infant in law was under 18, so there's no value as far as that infant is concerned. And whereas the Fulton Softball Association has requested the county council approve this waiver in lieu of purchasing such insurance policies, and it requests that the city remove them from such Schedule A adopted on September 3rd, 1991. Now therefore be it resolved that the county council hereby approves the waiver submitted by the insurance committee of the county council of the Fulton Softball Association in lieu of purchasing said insurance, and authorizes the city clerk to delete Fulton Softball Association from Schedule A adopted on September 3rd, 1991. And be it further resolved that there will be the responsibility of the Fulton Softball Association to have all participants sign this waiver before they're allowed to play, and also be the responsibility of the Fulton Softball Association to check the agents of all participants to ensure that no participants are under the age of 18 years old, and each waiver must also be signed and approved by the Fulton Softball Association and filed with the City of Fulton Recreation Commission. And be it further resolved that the Fulton Softball Association agrees to join the Softball Association shall purchase field insurance in the amount of $2 million, said insurance to be applied for by the City of Fulton shall be paid for by the Fulton Softball Association, as well as the fee for joining the Amateur Softball Association. All the requirements of this policy must be met before play starts. I didn't see that last paragraph. Well, 2 is what the ASA gets. That's their coverage.
What I understand, the fee is $100 per field.
Yeah.
All right, what's the fee per team?
I think it's $10 per team, so I think if you got 74 teams, you have to pay $740 to join the ASA, and $100 would be for the insurance.
The $100 is not per team.
No, you pay a $5 million aggregate under the ASA, but we got to get moving right away if you're going to do it, because you start Monday. Tony, on all fields that you play softball on, you understand that the only charges, that's $10 per team and $100 per joint.
Kind of collect. It's $10 a team. In their case, it'll be $740. They purchase a $2 million insurance from the ASA, which will cover $2 million. If there's a lawsuit, that they go after that policy first before they hit you. And I think it's a great deal for the softball association, $780 compared to $10,000 or whatever they were talking about. I asked Randy tonight, how come that policy is so low, $100 for, Siegel's got 11 fields, $100 for 11 fields. We got $200. Because there's so many teams. Do you know how many teams there is? 400,000 teams in the United States, ASA. 400,000. $10 a team. A lot of teams playing. Right. Yeah. Now the officials must join the ASA also, the umpires. They are covered. It costs them $17 a year to join, $25 a year for to become a chapter. Every year you pay the $25. $17 a year to be an official, and that covers $100,000 of personal accidental insurance. So when the official breaks his leg or whatever, he is covered up to $100,000. So we're covered pretty well right around the horn. We're covered.
And if you would, any tournament must be sanctioned by the ASA in order to be covered.
Must be an ASA tournament. Any tournament you run down there, because you've got your house. You got that, John?
Oh, yeah, I believe it's kind of by me reading the policy, if you are an ASA, maybe you can answer this one. If they want to hold, if a team wants to hold a tournament and they're ASA, they can hold that tournament.
If you want a tournament with 14 teams out of the league, no problem.
And then with the
ASA only costs $10.
Oh, yeah.
Even if they're not, they want to give you a tournament, it costs them $10.
They're talking about, if they want to hold a tournament, right, they won't have to get insurance because they will be covered by the insurance.
Incidental. Not covered for alcohol. There will be no drinking. No alcohol on the field or by spectators, and that will be enforced.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, they'll have to pay $10 to be ASA sanctioned.
On that day, God, I
I
thought
don't know if you can sanction it, now you got to talk to the ASA all the time.
I believe that usually, I went to a lot of big tournaments that weren't ASA things, but both hasn't been ASA things. I went to a lot of state tournaments and you signed an ASA form or whatever.
Be sure it's done under their rules, because if you violate their rules, you may find yourself without coverage. Okay. Motion. All in favor, indicate by aye. Aye. Opposed by no. Motion. Wow. Motion still carried.
You know, one thing, Chuck, and the rest of the softball players, you know, Tony did a lot of work on this, and he should be commended for it, and so did Joey Tetro. But one thing you have to understand, no matter what you're reading in the newspapers, is Barry Ostrander has been in your corner, and you shouldn't sell it short.
No one's telling me sure, but I can't quite believe that the newspaper will go ahead.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you that he's in your corner.
That doesn't matter if it's gold, it doesn't matter.
Well, what about this softball contract?
Can we just, we don't have a contract. I know that there could be joys and things. You need number 4.
these are in agreement, they're gonna pay $10.
We have a motion to waive the policy for the first week of play.
Why we got to wait?
So you can't get it.
Suggestion, as you go, I think as these guys come in, the insurance agent only being in Oswego, they think that they have documentation the day that they show up to play. If you could contact the agent, I'm sure that he would register these people. Either you pick some teams. Yeah, he's in Oswego. Right, yeah.
He called me tonight, he said, John, you got your 74 sport books down there waiting for you.
You want $10 bills?
Right now, all the money that we have been paid out, until we start accumulating some more money, we're gonna have to get this $10 from each team. We're not gonna be able to do it in a week.
Chuck, matter of Buckerman. What you're saying?
But we gotta have it before we go on the field.
Okay, when you show up, Buckerman, put your shoes on. However you
But anyone come with $800 a day,
You don't, no. You only have to cover the people that are there, Chuck, that's what I'm saying. You have to face me. You gotta have the $100 policy, okay? But you only have to cover the people that are there playing, which will cover those teams that are playing that night to give the buck a man, so they can arrangement with the agent. You understand now? Before they take the field, well, you've got, and you've got all the paperwork there, they sign it, give you the buck, it's paid, you got a card, it's done, the mandatory paycheck, you should be covered immediately, if they operate like any other national insurance company.
right, he's gonna be in the field.
If you arrange that with him.
The teams are already going to send out. That's not the issue. The issue is, I mean, work like Dave does, it's wonderful, but if you could give up, waive the insurance for 2 weeks.
I'll tell you what.
Then we know we would have the insurance.
A resolution doesn't go into effect until I sign it. Okay? Let me know when you got the insurance policy.
Yeah, I'll get together right away. Before you go into your session, let me get together, so we can get together tomorrow night. Because otherwise I won't be able to see you again until tomorrow. I have a softball
Chuck, it's my understanding that, Chuck, it's my understanding that you take the $840, which would cover all your teams to join the ASA, $100 is for the policy. The guy told me if you get 20 in, the city's going to check in for $100 after you join the ASA first. And we just leave it back to them and send a check over to mail or something, and we can cover it before we start paying. You have to have $800.
What do you call it, Randy? You need to give me a question. How about credit for the league?
Joe, all I'm saying is,
You still have to go by the way it was. And so until you get the money to join, the new resolution can't take effect right.
That's what I'm saying. We're starting off money. I gave you money from all the teams. You go see money out. What do you have to pay in the start?
74 teams, $10 per team. Can't they get together, what, 2 days?
any association have the right to increase their membership in anything? In that case, if you only have Monday, how many teams you have, Monday? 14. What we're talking about is approximately 40 players that you've got to contact to get a buck ahead. And $100 when we get the check out. That covers the association. And as you pick up the teams, $10 a team as they come into play, and you add them to the roster of your association, and you're covered. You don't need $840 up front.
$840, we got 74 teams, $10 a team.
You need that at the same time you need the $100. Or you need,
So you need to register them all the same time.
Yeah, but you're gonna do it piecemeal, you're gonna do it once a week, you be going out and getting donations every day of the week.
And if they come and play, they're going to be there.
the old resolution that can be changed by you. Okay, you can sit here tonight, instead of us picking over it, just give us 2 weeks. Change it so that we have 2 weeks to get you the money. Then there's going to be no problem. You can say, well, we can get you the money. I can get you the $100. I'll take the $100 out of my own pocket to get the field here. Because I know as soon as the association gets money back in the funds, I will get that. But I'm not going to put up $800 out of my own money. You know, all I'm saying is just do it for 2 weeks. If we don't have the money, then you can say, bye. No, we shouldn't have to say, you know, we shouldn't have, they can help by giving us 2 weeks. George, you know, never mind, George. Make it sound up, there's nothing to get it, we'll take it. I think I can sue you. Athletics Association. All these organizations would be covered under one policy. They would have $1 million personal liability, and also the teams would be covered. And you wouldn't have like 5, 6 different policies going on here, and you'd have one payment. And I think, after listening to this, I'm just sitting here spinning my head. You've got more paperwork. You're creating so much work for yourself when there's one organization that covers it all, and that's the AAU. They give you, again, $1 million personal liability. The teams get $1 million. It's $2 million liability on top of the city insurance. And then softball team could be under that insurance. If you want to start a figure skating organization, they would all be covered under one insurance. They would all be card-carrying members. And we would have all that.
Yeah, can you get that?
I can give you that information. Some number of them in Taekwondo, and they cover everything.
Can you get that given to our city clerk?
Sure.
Please.
And in that way, we can
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chuck. Chuck, can you stop?
Thank you, George.
Can you stop in my office tomorrow, because I got the waiver and everything like that, that you would have to get signed and paperwork together.
But you're told that not, you don't have to have membership card, just sign the waiver.
That's the way I understand it.
Right.
But be member first, that's the first time.
Those are the old bylaws or what?
No, you gotta leave, yeah, well, that's what it is, if you don't have money to get books printed. Sure, please, go to the next item.
Yeah, we sure can.
Good night, John.
Old 91?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we're 16 years old, we're looking at this.
Green printing 1955.
I got that one too, boy.
Yeah, I know. Next item.
Next item is garbage and trash picker revenue income. I wrote a letter to John Cook, budget chairman, and he asked me, and I think some lady asked me at the last meeting of doing in regards to the sales of garbage and trash liquors. And what my projections would be, John wanted to know, for 1992. And basically what my report shows is that as of we started on October 21st, 1991, and we have sold 176,879 garbage stickers and 3,225 trash stickers. The total sales...
Sorry, Joe.
That's okay. The total sales amounts to $93,277. That's after 27 weeks of sales. If we average that out, Jack, that averages out to be $3,454.70 per week. If you then multiply the amount by the rate of sales, our averaging at this time, by 52 weeks, our yearly sales in 1992 would be approximately $179,644. As you know, in the budget, we budgeted $370,000 for garbage and trash stickers. At present, the local grocery stores have outstanding invoices for garbage and trash stickers in the amount of $42,968. If you then add those to the invoices and what we presently have already collected, the total sales approximately, this is my best guess, by 1992 would be $222,612. City Chamberlain had approved $33,750 of that back in 1991. So this would then turn your total sales for 1992 estimated sales of $188,862. Obviously, there's a shortfall of about $183,000 or $182,000 as anticipated, as we put in the budget $370,000. But there are two factors that I'd like to report to Jan and your Honor and Council. We also budgeted $153,300 for tipping fees. The county did not institute tipping fees until April 1st. So obviously we're going to save some money on the tipping fees. How much, we will not know. I asked Mucky about that, so there's going to be savings there. And since the county instituted a 70 cents per bag charge that they now instituted out at the landfill, it started to increase the sales around the city because everybody who went out to the landfill is now coming back to the city. So, don't hold me for this poll, but because I don't know what's going to happen with this thing, it's all a guess. I would anticipate, unless something really drastically happens and our sales really go up, about $147,000 shortfall.
On the right side too, shortly the city will be taking what they call the effluent from the land, what they call it, John? Leachate, and processing it and charging the county back, so that made up that shortfall.
So could you keep us abreast of this on a monthly basis?
Right. Right, I will, and hopefully that shortfall will be smaller and smaller.
What was our disbursement for April, you know? What we paid? Or don't we have that?
What do you mean?
What we paid for
Those bills won't be out till later this week.
I just wonder if we knew what we paid for April.
We got our tally be $10,000 for the month.
How's that compare to budget?
Pardon?
How's that compare to
Well,
budget?
break it. Keep running that way. Well, it must be $120,000, and we got $153,000 in the budget.
Not bad.
Anything else that anyone wants to bring before the council?
Yes, I would like to introduce the resolution, not kind of portion one, not a special use permit.
Resolved, the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to advertise for a public hearing to be held on May 19th, relative to the petition for change of zone submitted by Don Agatha Zeller for a special use permit to convert a 3-car garage into a 1-car garage and a 1-bedroom apartment for their property located at 19 West 4th Street. This is just for the public hearing, right? That's correct.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. The motion carries. Next item.
Do we have sales tax to talk about?
You want to talk about it? Well, we might as well wait with our resolution to offer anyway, so I'm sure we're going to have to have one soon. Anybody have anything else they want to bring before the council?
Just one, I would like to thank this one young lady for filling in for me with that work, standing up to my fellow. I'd like to thank you for her help.
And I likewise, young lady on my left. Debbie, thank you very much. She's done a great job, didn't she? I think she did better than I did.
I'd like to thank Becky Schick, and I think tonight was even though it was a controversy, I think it was a good way for people, these young people, to get a real good idea of what city government runs. Sometimes it's not always positive, but the conclusions can be positive.
Yeah, I also like to thank Mayor for this, and also thank the others. Very well organized activities that they put on, each week, and I support it wholeheartedly.
And Joanne, thank you for representing the third ward tonight.
I'd like to thank Mary Van Meeting for coming to join us late from Buffalo, and a little bit late notice, and I'd like to thank the else also for what it's doing. It was my first time, and I appreciate it. I too would like to thank Kelly Spencer. I know what she's done. Real excited about being a city attorney, but I think she enjoyed it. I too would like to thank the else for the excellent deal and filled up my pockets with his DD.
I'd like to thank my partner, Mr. Daniel, for the situation. Maybe she might be one being always someday, or she might want to go down.
You said it. Well, I'm going to thank the young lady that's sitting next to us. Made a lot of motions, a lot of seconds. Great job. Martha. Oh, my God.
I read about Spencer, and I recall him about a time, and I was Spencer's age, and thank God that she was Spencer enough. Still, I don't want to sound too much like a political scientist. I've been giving the young lady to write on stage comments. But we have to govern ourselves, who else can govern us? And this is where it's at, right here locally.
Yeah, you're right. You certainly had a lot tonight. Thank you for being with us, Judge. Definitely you're right. Real pleasure.
General, also the way it is that she had this Valley Town board meetings in the past and is somewhat aware of the process.
Oh, I'm sure she is. Okay, somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll go with it.
I'll second that.